Hi, I'm Alum.
Hi, this is Dionysus.
Hi, I'm Kyle.
And hi, this is Breaker, and you're listening to Magic Hour, a podcast about all things TreasureDAO. Hey everybody out there in Bridgeworld. Quite an eventful week. We have the BattleFly Mint going on. There was an exploit in the Treasure Marketplace. We're going to touch on both those topics in this episode. But first, guys, how are you doing? What's the pulse? How are you feeling after all the excitement?
Feeling pretty good. Not gonna lie, my pulse is still, always beating super fast whenever talks come within Treasure and just Magic in general. So, doing not too bad myself.
Yeah, it was a pretty emotional week, but things are looking up. Overall, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there too, Dion. Does feel like we're rounding a corner, and thankfully this wasn't a huge Black Swan event. But again, we'll get into that. First up, though, what do you guys want to talk about in the news and notes? What's showing up on your radar?
Yeah, I have a quick hit. So, Small Love has officially confirmed their placement on the Treasure Marketplace. This is the same project that we mentioned in an earlier episode that created the small Tinder where you can match your smalls for eventual breeding. I'm not entirely sure what their NFTs are going to be or what plans the project has, but I know that they're currently accepting whitelist still. So join their Discord and follow for more.
Awesome. We'll put that link in the show notes for the listeners out there. Alan, what about you? What's going on?
There is a new derivative of Smallverse, which is called Small Potions, that I'm currently working on with a bunch of group of guys, and I'm honestly very, very excited for this. Just to give you guys a little bit of a touch up on what it's on and what we're working on. So we are already going to be integrated within Smallverse. Basically, what Small Potions is going to be is you're going to be able to craft potions within a alchemist lab. So there's going to be a lab within Smallverse, and you're going to be able to craft potions inside of it. And those potions are going to help you boost regarding whatever tasks that you want to perform within Smallverse. Per se, that might be, going on quests. That might be, boosting breeding possibly, or whatever it is. And again, I feel like the biggest problem that people have in terms of derivatives in general is just the fact of, them possibly being able it might dilute the main project itself, or, might cause confusion, especially when you're collabing within different projects themselves as well. But we really want to emphasize, having quality derivatives being collabed within the project as well, and actually, providing utility towards Smallville as well, not just in terms of a factor of having a collab in general. We want to actually emphasize the factor of having these collaborations to actually provide something within Smallverse itself, or even Bridgeworld perhaps. But there's a lot of other stuff coming out for the project as well, which we're very, very excited. We won't talk about it just yet, but just all I'm gonna say is it's definitely something that should be on everyone's radar right now, and I'm very, very excited about it as well.
That's awesome, and it's really great to hear that you're working on the project with them. For everyone out there, we'll make sure that we are honest and upfront about whether or not we're either invested or working with a project when we talk about it. But Alan, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about this project in a future episode, and who knows, maybe we'll be able to give out some whitelist spots.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. For me this week, what I saw that I was pretty excited about was Bridgeworld patched the game a little bit, and the patch notes are up. We'll put the link in the show notes, but essentially they've updated summoning time. So summoning's back. They've updated summoning times now. Instead of a week, I believe it's 10 days is the base duration, but you can decrease the amount of time it takes to summon using small, medium, and large prisms, but you can't stack them, so you can't do multiples of any of them. We don't know the exact hours that are being decreased, but they're evolving the game to kind of make it less inflationary and reduce the amount of supply coming into the marketplace. And that's just for summoning. Then they also added some adjustments for questing and crafting. questing durations have increased largely across the board, almost triple the amount of time that they were before, and the treasure drop rates have decreased, but they did increase the drop rates for the higher level treasures on both the medium and hard quests. So it's interesting to see what happens there. And then finally, they've also increased crafting duration, but again, I haven't crafted that much yet, so we'll see what happens there. I think these are all probably really good changes, well thought out, and I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what happens next. But it's really good that things are active again after the exploit that happened. Again, topic of the day, guys. Let's just dive right into this. What was the date of the exploit? Was it the 2nd?
I
Yeah.
believe so, yes.
Yeah. It was March 2nd.
All right. So on March 2nd, how did we find out about this? I know that one of you guys tipped me off to it in the Magic Hour Discord. Shout out Magic Hour Discord. You can find the link on our link tree. Guys, how did you find out about this exploit?
Well, for me personally, I was actually skiing the day that this was going on. So I was, just enjoying the slopes, having my fun time. And then right after I was done, I was just packing my skis back up in my car. And then one of my buddies, who's literally not even part of Treasure to begin with, he just kind of has it on his radar and, is just looking for a perfect entry point. He spam messages me on Discord and he's like, delist all your stuff, delist all your stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what happened? I was like, did something pump? Like, what was going on? I was like, I was just shocked. I was just, kind of going crazy in that moment. So quickly check and
what mountain were you skiing at?
I was skiing at Blue Mountain. It's a small mountain up in Ontario, North Ontario in Canada. It's nothing too big, but it's kind of just like the main mountain I usually go to just to hit some lines whenever I want to.
Before we get into what the exploit was, Dion, what were you doing when you found out about the exploit?
I was sitting on my computer. I was on the one. Yeah, I saw it all happen in real time. I experienced the euphoria of thinking that expensive NFTs were being sold, and then the absolute pain of realizing that it was an exploit.
And guys, correct me if I have anything wrong. Basically, the attackers were able to purchase, and I use the word purchase liberally. They were able to purchase any NFTs on the Treasure Marketplace for 0 magic. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a pretty huge exploit. If you had something listed on the Magic Marketplace, you were basically exposed probably for a pretty good amount of time, too.
Yeah, that's right. I think this exploit was a day 0 exploit. It was in the code for, I think, something like, at time of exploit, about 111 days.
Wow. So it was just something that no one ever caught. And, we're going to get into that in a second, but it's pretty crazy. And at the end, only about 150 NFTs were exploited in this, and some of it by white hat Good Samaritans who were just trying to save the NFTs for the people who weren't there to delist their NFTs.
Yeah, absolutely. It was 154, and to your point, some people found out in real time and went to go rescue listed NFTs.
It's great to hear that the community came together like that. And it turns out that the Shogun team seems to have kind of discovered it on their own and actually did some kind of, I guess, testing.
Yeah.
Is that how we would describe it?
Yeah, so the exploit seems to have been found by a guy called Drona the Drona. He's the founder and or CTO of Bit Inc., according to his Twitter. He was collaborating with Shogun Wars on their own marketplace, and as far as I understand, they kind of forked the code to develop their own marketplace. Shogun War was made aware of this exploit and had confirmed the exploit using Drona the Drona. It seems like, and again, I don't want to be pointing fingers, but it seems like we have found this guy's address, and about 11 of the exploits that were done on the Treasure NFT marketplace was done by this address.
Is the assumption here that the person who discovered the exploit and reported to the Shogun team also exploited 11 other NFTs? Is that kind of what you're describing? Have they given them back or no?
That's a good question. And while I don't know if this address in particular has given all of them back, I know that 150 of the 154 NFTs that have left their owner's address have been returned.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
It's an incredible percentage. The other remaining 4 have been reimbursed by the Treasure Council themselves. So everyone is kind of squared up on that end. While I haven't checked the chain, I can't confirm if all of the 11 that have been transferred to that address have been returned. I would surmise that they have been.
Hopefully they all have been returned, and it's great to hear that this wasn't a very bad situation, because it sounds like it could have been super bad. I do want to kind of cover the message that you posted in the chat. So essentially, the way the Shogun team found out about this was they had one of their moderators got an alert about a possible exploit in their market contract, like you said, the Shogun market contract. Then someone made a zero magic transaction by an independent security evaluator who notified the Shogun team. Then they asked someone to list a Shogun NFT on their market for 500,000 magic. You know, I guess really, really high so that no one could buy it. To verify the existence, and then the listing went live and they were able to buy it for zero magic. Very interesting process for them to kind of pressure test whether or not this actually existed. They shut down their marketplace, and I guess they fixed the issue, and then they made their market live again. But did they inform the Treasure team at the same time?
And the answer is no, they didn't, which was a layup on their end, especially if they want to be working with the Treasure team. But I guess no. Go ahead. I can say this later.
No. Continue your thought, because all I was gonna say was the Shogun team posits that they didn't make the connection between their exploit and Treasure. They might have thought it was only related to their marketplace.
I see. Totally. And that's not an unreasonable thing. I would argue that they should have known better. But I want to say this seemed to be like a comedy of errors leading up to the exploit. One, the bug was written in the code for day 0, 111 days of no one finding it, the Shogun team identifying, fixing, and not communicating to the Treasure team. But the onus and responsibility lies exclusively with the Treasure team.
As far as I believe too, I think that someone told the Treasure team about the exploit or the bug within the contract 22 days before it actually happened, but the Treasure team actually just did not really work upon it during that time. So I think that's also something I was seeing around in the Discord as well. People were talking about.
It's good that you bring that up, because that was misinformation that was going around. It wasn't like that would be a pretty bearish case, right? The Treasure team was identified or was notified of an issue, and they specifically chose to not deal with it, and then this issue happened. But that was not the case. Let me reiterate, that did not happen.
You know, in all the chaos that was going on, during that time, people trying to delist, people freaking out, wondering if they were going to lose all their NFTs, wondering if Magic was going to make it through this, because at that time we didn't know the full extent of what was going on. It's easy to kind of be able to point fingers and guess at what's right, what's causing it, and how, and the attack vectors and whatnot. But that's all part of it at the end of the day, right?
Well, I think two of the other things that are important to talk about are what made this exploit go viral was the Golden Small sale. The Golden Small, as far as I understand, was I forget how much it went for, but it was like tens of thousands of magic, if not 6 figures of magic. And I remember being in both the Treasure Discord and the One Discord, and people were posting like, oh my God, this was sold. I'm so excited. This is like huge bullish news in an otherwise macro kind of bear environment or chop.
Wait. So this happened the same day?
Yeah. So the Golden Small was the NFT. So again, the exploit was used on the Golden Small, and that kind of started this this like craze and this frenzy on the treasure marketplace.
Oh, so that gold and small wasn't sold for the amount that it was listed at, but people thought it did.
Yeah, because it showed up on the activity. So all of these that were being exploited showed up on the activity page of the treasure marketplace as being sold for their list price. So that's the euphoria that some, including myself, experienced as
Oh,
it was
wow. I didn't
actively
even
happening.
know that.
Yeah,
That changes like the whole atmosphere. So basically, you
absolutely.
guys are all seeing all these NFTs being sold at their prices. Things are going so fast. So you're like, oh my God, the marketplace is going crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's starting to be like, oh my God, should I list? Should I list? And then like someone had to have discovered that they were going for zero magic.
Yeah, exactly. I think the golden small was kind of what made this viral, and then it was understood that this within a short period of time, the exploit was actually shared in some alpha Discord, and then people were off to the races using the exploit. I'm not as technical person myself, so I wasn't able to go and rescue things on the marketplace. This is when others started to go do that. But yes, and they all of these NFTs were going to the same address. So you're like, oh my God, who is just spending like literally six figures of magic in a period of 5-10 minutes? And what do they know? Everyone was super excited. I think there were 50 some legions listed, and within half an hour, there were zero. And that's because they were all taken.
Wow, that's scary stuff.
The mood and sentiment was absolutely dismal.
Well, it went from euphoria to dismal in like a matter of moments.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we haven't even talked spoken about yet is the token price. Magic dipped pretty hard.
Right. I actually wanted to get into that kind of right now. So if that happened on the second, it looks like it dipped from about 380, 390 all the way down to about $3.
Even lower than that, about
Lower?
yeah, even around I'd say around 230, 236. So
Okay. Maybe my chart is just not good enough then.
Dex Screener and Defined weren't really keeping up with the amount of sales.
So yeah, I think it dipped around roughly around 230-ish zone. Obviously, people saw that as the opportunity, and that got bought instantly. Like that thing got picked up so quick, it was insane.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see the bounce. It goes right back to 356.
exactly. It was an instant recovery, and it just started fluctuating around that price around $3, and that's kind of where it just started sitting. It's resting at again after that.
Well, now it seems to be at about 271. Not that that really matters. It seems like it recovered somewhat, but it's still, if you want to know, now is a good time to buy Magic, it feels like.
From a technical standpoint, I do believe that this flush was honestly not the worst thing in the world.
It could have been extremely detrimental, but just based off how, well, honestly, just I have hats off to just the community in general, and I mean obviously Treasure as well. They shut off the marketplace as fast as they could, and they tried to, just cancel everything and just fix everything as fast as they possibly can. And I mean, hats off, much respect to all the heroes within the community of trying to save everyone else's NFTs with on the marketplace and tried their absolute best to make sure more didn't get taken. And I feel like just everyone made such an amazing collective effort to make sure everything was just safe and sound and made sure nothing got worse. And I mean, hey man, that's just the beauty of Treasure, right? That's just the beauty of just the community that we're in. And I mean, I couldn't thank the people in this community enough for just being such amazing people. And honestly, I really don't know where else I would see this, especially, something that's as bullish as Treasure itself and people want to get so much opportunities. I'm just so happy to see that I'm in such an amazing community and people doing such amazing things like this.
I think it also speaks to the broader crypto slash blockchain community also because a lot of us want to see this succeed. And, we can go back to the DAO incident if you guys were around then with Ethereum because when that happened, it was almost like we were at a crossroads, right? Where we could accept the fact that everything was hacked or we could restore everybody revert back to the blockchain before it all happened and say, listen, we're still in the infancy stage, so let's fix this and make it right. Excuse me, not let someone take advantage of everybody else at a time where we're still learning, but we still want to make sure that everybody kind of stays enthusiastic about it. Because imagine if you had, like taking this for example, everybody is really invested in this. If it dies, that's going to really bring a lot of people down and sour a lot of people. It goes hand in hand with the kind of community we're in, where we all want everybody to win at the end of the day, right? We're all going to make it. That's the slogan of crypto right now. So, everybody rallies around things like this to help make it better and to help kind of keep things together. So I agree with you, Alan. It's really, really great community. Now, guys, where do we go from here, right? So right now, the treasure marketplace has been shut off since this exploit and has not been brought back up. That's correct? So we can't trade any smalls, any treasures, any Legion Genesis, any Seed of Life, nothing.
Not on the treasure marketplace. Now, if you do want to trade, you can go to Tofu. We should acknowledge that. But you probably, to support the TreasureDAO, you should probably wait to do all of your trading so that they actually receive their 5% magic cut.
And on top of that, we probably will most probably see a lot more volume and price action for those specific NFTs as well on Treasure, obviously, because that is the main marketplace that those will be traded on.
That is true. However, on the Tofu NFT marketplace, you can sell your NFTs for Magic or ETH, or only ETH.
Matt, actually, that's a good question. I think Tofu's only ETH.
Yeah, as far as I believe, I think it is just ETH, but yeah, I do believe it is just ETH as of right now, because personally I haven't sold anything on there just yet, but I'm pretty sure it is ETH.
Got it. I'm gonna take a quick peek right now. Oh, small brains are right there. Let's see some of the activity going on there. So floor for small brains is 1.9, and there's actually nothing listed on small brains on Tofu right now.
Whoa. Well, that's good.
No legions listed.
That's great news.
Yeah. No, it seems like let me see, Seed of Life. There's Seed of Life. No Seed of Lives are listed either. Perhaps maybe there's a deal with Treasure and Tofu, because I know that they asked Tofu to prevent some of these NFTs from being sold on their marketplace. Maybe they just decided to shut down all TreasureDAO NFTs until the marketplace is back up. Yeah, very interesting. It's really kind of uncharted waters a little bit. So really interested in seeing how all that plays out. What do we think is going to happen for the Magic token? Do we think we're going to sit here around 274? Do you think we have to wait until the marketplace opens up again? I know we're all very optimistic and bullish on Magic in general, but after seeing the activity that happened after the exploit, where do we see the token going from here? Or do you think it's too soon to tell?
Obviously, the treasure marketplace is, down right now. Not that much going. People are just sitting down, taking a break. So, especially with everything else that's going on with all the crises around the world, it makes sense on why Magic is at where it's at. But at the same time, I feel like right when marketplace opens, I mean, for the people that don't know, John also tweeted and kind of posted about saying that he might even give us a surprise just to make up for the entire treasure community for everything that's going on. And I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm predicting it possibly might be backpacks, but we don't know, obviously. Whatever it might be, I feel like definitely this is going to be a big refresh for everyone within the community. It's going to kind of be like a stepping zone, a learning curve for everyone within the community as well. And I feel like it's just going to be a hard reset for everything that's going on. It's going to be a hard reset for the floors, going to be a hard reset for the volume, just going to be a general reset for everything within the community. So honestly, who knows where this might be? Again, the sky's the limits for Magic, and who knows where this might go after this. But again, of course, I'm going to be bullish on what's going to happen after here, and I definitely do see a pump right when the marketplace open.
Yeah, and so you see a pump happening. I just wanted to comment that I really like your take that this is a big reset. That being said, you think there's going to be a pump?
We really don't know what John has in his mind based off, the surprise that he wants to give everyone. but I suppose and I hope, I'm optimistic it's going to be something relatively big just based off of everything that happens. He really does want to make it up to everyone. And based off of, apart from that, again, people are going to start buying. New patch notes are out for Treasure as well. A bunch of stuff is just coming off, on the sidelines while the marketplace is down. I feel like we're going to see a lot of volume right when it opens back up, just based on everything else, all the news that we have received during the time it has been down. And honestly, I'm just think it's just going to be bullish just based off of that.
The resiliency of the community and the token in general gives me a lot of optimism in terms of the marketplace. I think if they can relaunch the marketplace with this exploit fixed, obviously, I think that it's going to give a lot of outsiders confidence that this project isn't just fly by night, isn't amateur, but that is a very positive sign for the ecosystem, and it could be bullish. It could also go the other way too. People could be waiting for the marketplace to open so they could be like, I just want to get out of this now. I've been too invested in it. That's the other side of it. What do you think, D?
Yeah. I do think that it will be. I'm leaning bearish. I'm leaning pretty heavily bearish, actually, at the opening of the marketplace. And this is in light. I know that there have been rumors of people sweeping floors as soon as it opens. And another person, Mike Crypto, who is like a Ethereum OG, is saying that he's in discussions with VCs who are very interested in Magic and that they have large portfolios and are looking to invest. And I think all of these are great things, and I'm long-term bullish. But we have a week full of sell pressure, and the exploit was pretty bad. I think it did shake a lot of people. I think it shook a lot of people out. One of the other things that we didn't mention is March 2nd was the day of the exploit, but it was also the day of BattleFly whitelist mint. I would say that Magic, in all likelihood, probably had the largest amount of newcomer eyes looking at it. And I think that seeing that amount of red and seeing that exploit most likely scared off a lot of them, as opposed to bringing them in.
I can't disagree with you either, and I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. And we'll talk about BattleFly later on in this episode, but that certainly was a interesting coincidence. And I feel like I remember seeing in chat that some people were almost like blaming BattleFly or saying that it was something in the BattleFly code that was enabling this to happen, which obviously isn't true, but it just goes to show that no one knew anything, and there was so much chaos that everybody was looking for someone to blame or somewhere to point their fingers. But
yeah. It was really emotional. People wanted to scapegoat immediately.
Well, thankfully, most of the BattleFly mint went off without a hitch, seems like.
Yeah,
I know they had some whitelist issues early on because I couldn't mint my BattleFly right off the bat, but I have it now. And again, we'll talk about that later.
One of the other things that we haven't touched on yet are the steps that the Treasure team is taking to kind of remediate the bug issues and what they're doing with the community currently, right? So they are doing a full review of code, including diagnostic issues, which they think that they've largely identified and fixed. They're doing 3, I think, individual contractors are auditing their current code, and they're also developing a relationship with a auditing firm. Auditing firms, for all of you who are unaware of that market space, are extremely difficult to get contracts with. They have a huge backfill because there's so many projects that are trying to get audited properly. So the fact that Treasure's reaching out and getting that process started, I mean, code will consistently be added as they make Bridgeworld patches and additions, which is, again, kind of a fundamental reason why I'm bullish in the long term. They realized it's almost a good thing that this exploit happened at this point. I mean, Treasure's still, 4 months old, 5 months old? It's still a nascent project, and there's going to be a lot of additions in the future, and they kind of are getting out some of these common missteps, and they're rectifying them, I think, as properly as can be.
Dion, those are all excellent points, and I didn't even think about the, like you said, remediation.
Mm-hmm. Remediation, yeah.
I didn't even think about that at all, but thank you for bringing that up, because it seems like they don't want this to happen again, which is very reassuring. And also, I'm happy that you mentioned I guess what's the high demand of these audit firms, and there's certainly an opportunity if you know Solidity code and can read it well to start your own auditing or smart contract auditing firm, because it seems like there's a lot of business opportunity there for you.
And one thing also that I wanted to mention as well was about just in terms of, knowing that this is, as you were saying, Breaker, this is on like everyone just kind of on their high horse right now for Treasure, just thinking and expecting just it's only going to go up, right? And people just, I feel like, have to just sometimes realize and just take a step back and just realize that this is just still a project like any other project within a world, right? And there will always be ups and downs within every single project. And, some will be extremely detrimental, some will be really lightly, and, the fact that something like this is happening this on within the project is honestly, in my opinion, something that I'm happy that at least it happened now than later on and further forward into the project as well. And I'm just glad that it happened this early on, and we're just getting all of these detrimental issues that could be very catastrophic, in the long run, are just being dealt with now. And I feel like sometimes people just have to take a step back and just apart from everything that's going on, and some people may be getting stressed and scared about all these just line of events that have been going on recently with just Treasure and stuff like that. And obviously, this month has just been really shaky, and people just have to realize how far we really have come still in just a short amount of time. I mean, realistically, this all started up when Small Brains minted, and the fact that we already pumped up to $6 within just a few months, and we have some NFTs that are already flipping BAYCs, and just how far we've already come at such an accelerated pace is just mind-blowing. And sometimes people have to realize that this pace that we're going on is really not common. It's really not common for most projects to be going at this fast of a pace. And that's also a thing that the Treasure team was also taking into account, that the pace that they were working at and just how fast they were just accumulating everything sometimes can be also detrimental to the project itself. Because this is when you're going at that fast of a pace, it's hard to take into these firm audits. It's hard to take into all these firm diagnostics and just everything that they have to take into consideration. It's really hard to do that stuff when you're moving at such a fast pace. And I feel like people just have to really just take a step back, just take a chill pill and relax, and just apart from everything that's going on, just breathe and realize how far we've come together as a community, together with the team, and just as an entire project as a whole. And honestly, just be proud. Just be proud at everything that's going around with us, whether it's from, the amazing job that the community is doing, all these derivatives, all the people that are just working for the project itself and just trying to make a project in the ecosystem better as a whole. And honestly, just how much work the team's putting.
No, you're absolutely right on all points. And I think you said what you said that resonates the most is take a step back, take a breather, go outside, take a walk around the block, step away from the computer for a little bit. I think and maybe it was because it was winter too, and there wasn't much to do outside for a lot of us, but I think we've been glued to our computers far more than we needed to be. And I know for myself, these past couple of weeks, I kind of took a step back and wasn't on the computer as much, and I feel like a lot fresher, have a clearer mind. And I think like you said, Dion, it's probably good for the ecosystem that this happened now. Or was it you, Alan, who said that it's good that it happened now and not
exactly. And even if you are on your computer all the time, right, like just I feel like just in terms of a perspective of everything that is going on, I feel like definitely a good mindset to have during this is just realize, again, as I was reiterating before, again, from where we started and to what we're at now, and just the entire journey we've been going through, and just realizing again how bullish people were in the beginning and how bullish people still are. And again, short term, there will always be problems. I guarantee there will be problems later on within the future as well. Again, right? Problems always occur within projects, and it's just the up and downs throughout the journey. But we just have to realize, the main goal, the long-term focus for the project, and what this project wants to achieve. And sometimes just ask yourself, why did you join this project in the first place? And why are you still in it? And I feel like that's going to help people realize very, very well why you're still holding on to this and what's the true reason why you're still within Treasure itself.
By the way, I'm in this hotel room in Austin, Texas. It's a fucking closet. And my room consists of my bed, uh, a flop down table, like a Murphy bed style table where I have my laptop at. The sink is in the main room, as well as the shower. It's yeah, that's it. There's no like closet, there's no safe, there's no. But first, we wanted to talk about the upcoming mint of BattleFly. This has gotten a lot of hype. I mean, you can't go anywhere without hearing about this. I was actually looking at the whitelist Google sheet, and there are like 20 different projects, maybe even 30, that are participating in the whitelist with their own BattleFly NFTs. Guys, what are your first thoughts about BattleFly? How hyped are you? Give it to me straight.
Right. I'm so freaking hyped for BattleFly, man. Like you
I can
said,
feel your excitement, Kyle.
they have so many partnerships. They have New Tokyo, they have Anonymized, Ether Orcs, Furballs, like everything. They have partnerships.
Kaiju Kings is in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And the game that they're building, it's like the way that they're pushing it out, they're making us all so excited, man. They're saying that the battle engine is complete. You have all these like huge big brain economists working on the tokenomics and the RNG side of things. Like everything is just so like electrifying.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, for those of you who don't know, here's the TLDR. First off, we're going to link the Medium article if you haven't seen the Medium article yet. But really quickly, it's a free mint. If you're part of this mint, you'll be able to mint starting on Wednesday, March 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. You'll need to have 5 magic tokens in your wallets, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the mint will last for 48 hours, and there are 30,000 Genesis cocoons available in this mint. That's a big amount. We don't see that much usually in these types of mints, but that makes it pretty exciting. I think that's going to bring a lot of people. Guys, how do we feel about the size of the mint and the 5 magic price? Let's go around the team. Dion, what's your opinions here?
I'm super excited about BattleFly personally. I think having a 30,000 cap will be incredible for the Magic ecosystem writ large, and it will also make for some quite lively PvP action.
Whatever that PvP action is, I don't know if we have really too much information on that yet. I'm really curious about it. Alan, what do you think?
I'm also super bullish on BattleFly. I kind of feel like BattleFly is, in my personal opinion, just because of, everything that's going on across the world and everything right now, I feel like BattleFly might even be the spark that Treasure might need right now, to just get things back to how it was when everything first came out. Who knows? I mean, I honestly think that is a well possibility that could definitely happen. But when we do talk about collection size and stuff like that, personally, I think a 30,000 collection size obviously is big, but I mean, again, what Dion was saying as well, it makes sense on why they're doing it, just because of later on into the game, there are going to be, Battleflies, losing, and just they're going to be in the PvP action, and some are going to survive, some are going to die, and just the entire mechanisms that they've all involved within the game. It makes sense on why that collection size is that big. And the 5 magic, I mean, it's 5 magic. If you've been in the space, and you definitely have 5 magic, 100%. And I mean, for something that is this bullish, 5 magic, in my opinion, seems absolutely like nothing. And it really doesn't seem like a problem to anyone, as far as I believe, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Right. I mean, that's only what, like $20 now, right? Right, Kyle? In terms of magic
It's
price?
only around. Yeah, currently it's around 15. Yeah, around that, around $20.
After the mint happens, you're going to be, according to the Medium article, you're going to be able to sell and transfer your cocoons on a marketplace. They haven't told us what marketplace this is yet. It's listed as redacted. And we all know that Trove isn't coming till Q2. So what does everybody think? Are they creating their own marketplace? Is this going to be Tofu? Well, obviously you'll be able to trade on Tofu also, right?
You would definitely think that it's that it's Tofu. That's like the de facto Arbitrum NFT marketplace in today's world. That's where we've been buying and selling our realms. There is a part of me that wants to get super giga bullish on this and say that they're making their own marketplace that will either merge with Trove or be compatible in some capacity. But I think that's out of the realm of possibility, at least from what I've seen right now. There's no information that would give me that inkling other than the fact that they're teasing it out.
That's for sure. And just to be fair, everyone who's listening to this, they're making a lot of promises from day one, right? They're saying that the game is ready. There's going to be 30,000 players. You're going to be able to sell and transfer your mints within 48 hours of the mint finishing. So that's like 2 days afterwards. So they definitely have this ready. The game is going to start mid-March. They seem to be ready to deliver, and they've been talking about this for quite some time. So if you missed out on a whitelist spot, cocoons will be available to trade on the marketplace. We covered that. There's also going to be a secondary drop of legendary cocoons, which will be released in the coming months. And they're going to have breeding in Season 2. So there's definitely going to be more cocoons coming. Don't worry if you're not able to get one at mint.
That's a really great point, Breaker. Can I add on to that? We discussed the 30,000. I don't know if we actually really gave it justice. I mean, part of the reason for such a high capacity is really for accessibility. It's something that we covered in a previous episode. Getting involved in the treasury ecosystem right now is accessible through recruits. However, you can't farm treasures, etc. But with BattleFly, you get to play this game entirely with just 5 magic. I mean, like you said, the cost to entry is just $20. We're kind of like, or they are kind of like creating a game that's very comparable to Axie in terms of your accessibility to come in. They even mentioned on one of the Twitter spaces the other day, there are large communities in places where there are lower income individuals who are very interested in playing. I think one of them was the Nigerian part of their server that is just an incredible community banding together and extremely excited for the BattleFly game.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. That's incredible. I mean, there's quite a big following from Nigeria of all places. You know, I had no idea that Nigeria was that into crypto, let alone this project on Arbitrum. So that's really cool and interesting to hear. And yeah, I agree with you. Giving a low barrier to entry in this space is so important. It's going to bring so many people to the table and get people excited in general about crypto, which is part of the reason why we're all in this anyways. Great point, Dion. Great. Guys, are you ready to talk about the actual gameplay? They're going to start with Season 1, and first off, they say that the game will open and Season 1 will play out across 3 phases called the Chrysalis, the Genesis Battles, and the Ascension. But know that your BattleFly's natural lifespan will last many seasons, and future choices will be impacted by your activities during those seasons. Let's jump into phase 1. Chrysalis phase is basically described as a staking mechanism. You're going to stake it in something called the silo for 2 weeks with 5 magic. Basically, when you get it, you're going to stake it, and after the 2 weeks is up, the game is supposed to start. And during this period, you're going to earn emissions from your staked magic. Do we think that they're putting this in the Atlas mine for us?
Oh, absolutely.
So they're taking all our magic and they're putting it in the Atlas mine for 2 weeks for us.
Yes.
5 times 30,000 magic.
150.
150,000 magic if everybody stakes their Chrysalis, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that's really cool about that is they're doing some of the things in the Magic ecosystem that are incentivized, but they're also kind of putting this barrier UI in front of it. So we are actually participating in the ecosystem while it actually just feels like we're playing a game.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, I never thought about it that way. It's really getting everybody to engage in all facets of the Magic ecosystem, even through this one game. Just the same way we do Bridgeworld too. Right, so after we do the staking, then we're going to have 4 starting mods, which will be revealed progressively, I guess maybe over time. I I don't know what these mods are. I haven't gotten that far in the Medium article, but they don't talk about that. Finally, there'll be some graphical change because your silo will gradually crumble, enabling the next phase to commence. And then they put in this little note, periodic airdrops may happen for users staked in the silo. What do you guys think that means? Kyle, you've been on this project for quite some time. Do you have any insight on that?
I'm actually not sure what kind of airdrops they're talking about, but I think it's another way to incentivize people from listing their cocoons on the marketplace, right? And to generally just stake their BattleFly. I think the way BattleFly is building their game is great. So from top-down approach, right, it's an idle strategy game. So I want to contrast this to Raid Party. Like if you guys have heard, Raid Party is a game on Ethereum. It's supposed to be some idle strategy game as well, and I can see a lot of similarities between the two. Right, they're both building this game that yields rewards over time without the player actually having to do a lot of like hard work on his part because it's an idle game, right? But I think what Battlefly did differently is they didn't have to create their own currency. So if any of you are familiar with Raid Party, they have their own currency called DCTFI or something like that, right? But instead of making their own currency, in their Medium article, the Battlefly founders said that they could use Magic and use that as their own native currency instead. And so we have the whole flywheel effect of Magic coming in into play again, where you have more people playing, Magic price goes up, etc., etc. And Battlefly is built as a fun-first game approach, which is why you have 30,000 mints, right? They don't want any barriers to entry. They don't want people to be limited by the amount of money that they have. That's why they only need 5 Magic. They don't ask for an exorbitant sum like 100 Magic, for example. So you can see that they are really trying to make the game as accessible to everyone. And it's not a pay-to-win game. They have clearly stated that everyone is equal. Like they in their article, they said that Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos can't just buy like the best Battlefly in the marketplace. Instead, Battlefly rarities are forged through the battles that they go through the mods that they have, and the ability of the Battlefly to win the games. So it's more of a over time and how good the player is and how good he makes his mod, rather than a Battlefly that comes straight out of the gate with like OP statistics, for example. Yeah. So all this, I mean, it's just looking to be a great game, from what I've seen in the Medium articles.
Yeah, no, it really sounds interesting because, reading into the next phase, I'm like super excited. First off, they're talking about some strategy in the chrysalis phase, which will be choosing whether to stick with the cocoon you have or try to trade for one that has a different loadout. I don't even know what those loadouts are. And then you can also farm, so you can buy like a bunch of cocoons and then play with all of them or just play with some of them. And then when they talk about phase 2 for Battlefly, you'll be staking your Battleflies with Magic in the Hyperdome against 99 other players, and you're going to be choosing from preset entry amounts. I believe this is your ante, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Do you win all the Magic from the other 100 players?
I actually think that they described the ROI in their Medium articles. I'm not too familiar with it, but how I imagine it happening is like a pot, right? So all these people put money into the pot. So the very first loser, first one that drops out, I'm guessing he doesn't earn anything. But from there on, the second place loser and thereafter, they earn like ROIs on the Magic that they put in, right? Like maybe.
Got it. So if you low roll, you low roll. But if you high roll, you really high roll.
Yes. I'm guessing, yeah, pretty much.
I guess probably at 50 or 51, if you're like the 51st player, you're going to break even.
Yes. That's how I imagine it happening, at least. It's a really strategic game if you think about it. Because the mods that you mentioned, right? These mods I'm pretty sure that it's like your stats, right? It's probably your abilities / like attack, offense, power / defense. Yeah. So you're obviously like the hardcore grinders, like would go for the statistics that obviously boost their Battlefly to the maximum abilities, right? To their max. and they will, and that's how they win, and that's how rarity is decided. Like, I don't think that the BattleFly with the nicest design will be super rare or anything. Instead, I think the one that will go for the highest price will be the BattleFly that has won like the most battles. Because if you have that BattleFly, you're basically guaranteed to win like all the magic in the pot, like most of the magic. If you win all the battles.
And to your point, do you know how many mods there are? I remember hearing something along the lines of, maybe we're getting too far ahead of ourselves, but I remember hearing something along the lines of near infinite possibilities when it comes to mod combinations.
Well, it says on this Medium article there are over 240 mods, which include weapons, shields, and other utilities.
And you can have 4 mods on a BattleFly.
From what they say, right? Yeah, from the medium, I could see this being the de facto game in like, I don't know, play it on Twitch. That would be nice if BattleFly goes to like the Twitch like front page. That'd be sick.
That would be pretty sick. All right, guys, I'm pretty hyped about BattleFly. I think that we know so much about what's coming, and we didn't even touch on Ascension. We'll leave that for another time, because I'm sure by the time we get to Season 2, we'll know more about this game. Yeah, I'm excited. And that concludes another episode of Magic Hour, friends. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you can listen to your podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Hour Pod. All the links are found on our link tree, which is in the show notes. From all of us, we appreciate your support for Bridgeworld.